All right. Good morning, everyone. We're just at 11 o'clock, so I'm going to wait a couple minutes and see if we have any last-minute people coming in. And as we do, I'll just kind of do a couple quick housekeeping things. We're gonna this webinar is gonna run about an hour, and so we have a lot of material to cover. And so I would recommend that rather than trying to follow along and sort of be working in Shopify as I go through this process, just kind of watch what I'm doing, take some notes if you'd like. But this webinar will be recorded, and I'll send this out to everyone after, so you can always follow along afterwards and kind of pause and rewatch that at your own pace. I'm also going to be talking about a bunch of links that are really helpful resources during the webinar. And again, after this, I'm going to send out in an email both a link to the video and a list of those links that I'm going to be covering. So you'll have access to all of those after the webinar is done later on today. Also, I'd love to, hey Kim, I'd love to hold questions towards the end. If something pops into your mind, you can put it in the chat if you'd like. I'm going to kind of go through everything and try to leave a little bit, 10, 15 minutes towards the end to answer some questions that you have. And then we'll get through as many of those as we can. Again, I'll be sending out a recap of this video so you can rewatch this later on. And I will also be sending out links to all the things that we are covering, so you have access to those afterwards. So without further ado, I'm going to get into it. And like I said, we have a lot of material to cover. I'm going to try to go fairly quickly, but slowly enough that it's not overwhelming. And again, this is sort of a getting started with Shopify. So it's going to be sort of a 101, getting products in there, getting a store set up. The great part about Shopify is it has a lot of advanced features and functionality, which I'll probably touch on lightly, but we're not really going to get into a deep dive on some of those. So let's get started. Again, my name's Chris. I'm the co-founder at Dative, and we're a web design and development agency right here in Cape Cod. We're proud members of the Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce, and really grateful to Kim over there and their whole team for inviting us to put this webinar on. It's a great idea, and I think e-commerce in general is a really good opportunity for local businesses to reach new customers. And I think there's a lot of people on the Cape that like to shop local, and being able to shop local online, especially now in the time of these quarantines, is a really great opportunity for you and your customers. So I'm going to get started by kind of explaining what Shopify is. A lot of people have heard of it, but it's helpful to just kind of give a little more context. So Shopify is a hosted multi-channel e-commerce platform. And so that's kind of a word soup of a lot of things, and I wanted to kind of unpack that sentence a little bit. So hosted means they are handling the server, all the files where your store lives, so you don't have to worry about, like with your own sites, if some of you have your own sites, if you do have your own hosting account with something like GoDaddy, and you're worrying about backups and security and all that sort of stuff, Shopify handles all of that for you. So they have this whole e-commerce platform built, which encompasses all the logistics of that, inventory management, taxes, shipping calculator, payment processing. So they have this entire e-commerce platform built, and basically what you can do is pay a subscription to use that and put your own store together on their platform. Also, it's multi-channel. So Shopify has done a really great job over the years of expanding how you can sell, still using Shopify as the back-end logistics. You can sell through an online store, but now they also have direct integration, so you can sell right through Facebook, through Instagram. If people listening are on Instagram, I'm sure you've seen those sort of Instagram posts where you can click and you see the little shop icon, and you can shop directly through Instagram. You can shop through Messenger. You can embed it into your own website. So there's multiple ways that you can allow customers to shop your Shopify store. It doesn't just have to be through an online store. And they also have a really great retail point of sale system. So if you do have a retail store or retail location and you don't have a POS set up yet, or if you're looking to potentially move to something that is more integrated, Shopify has a retail version where you've seen probably in some stores where you have a little iPad kiosk and people can click and check out that way. The great thing about that is if you go that route, they can have all the inventory management all through Shopify. So your online store and your physical location can all be in sync. At the same time, Shopify is a really great platform, but there's a couple things it's not. It's not a completely custom solution. So because you're using their platform, they've made some decisions on how checkout processes should work, how certain things work. And so if you have some really unique or advanced needs and in terms of either the types of products you're selling or how things need to be packaged and shipped, or how your inventory needs to work with other systems, Shopify might not be a great fit for you. Not to say it isn't, and they do have multiple levels of Shopify, which I'll show you. But I would say, for 95% of the people out there, Shopify will work. There are some edge cases where it might just not be a great fit. And so what we're going to try to go through today is kind of basically explaining how you can build your online store in 4 steps. The first step is products, and this is really the most critical point of having a good online store. One of the number one reasons that prevent people from purchasing online is there's not enough information about the product. People like to see lots of really good quality images of products, detailed descriptions of products, lifestyle pictures of the product in use, what kind of materials it's made out of, all that sort of stuff. So it's really important if you're looking to sell online that you have good quality content around your products. And so we're going to go over how to import your products into the store. We're going to just do a couple ones as a test, but I'll show you there's other ways if you have multiple products and you can kind of import a bunch all at once. The other part we'll talk about is how you can organize those products. So Shopify uses a thing that they call collections, and it's basically how you can organize your products into different groupings. And that's how a lot of the ways you can organize the navigation. For example, we're going to be demoing some shirt products, and you can organize those into collections like t-shirts, short sleeves, men, women, and then also using tags to kind of further filter down in those when you have a lot of products. The next step we're going to go through is sort of the settings. So once you have your products in there, you need to sort of configure the store so that people can actually go ahead and make those purchases. So that includes things like setting up taxes, figuring out how you're going to handle shipping and fulfillment, the payment processing, and a lot of other of those more configuration options. Once you have the products in there and the store is kind of ready to go, you have to figure out how you're going to present that to your customers. So that's what we're going to set up different sale channels. We're just going to set up the online store for right now, but I'll show you how you can actually set up some other ones like Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. And then the last part is just touching lightly on how you can start to sell and then grow your business. So Shopify has a lot of really great add-ons that you can do to expand the functionality of what's available. And I'll show you how you can look at some of those using Shopify apps. And once you have your sort of store, or concurrently as you're building your store, there's a lot of really, really great resources from Shopify to help grow your skills and grow your business. And the key ones that I'm going to point out are the Help Center. So they have a really robust Help Center where you can look up by keyword or by topic. And they have a lot of good information there, and they do have a pretty responsive help team, so you can reach out either by phone or live chat if you run into issues. Shopify Compass is guided video courses on a range of different topics, everything from getting set up on Shopify, sort of like this, to more advanced ones like using Google AdWords, selling with Instagram. So they've just released that in the last couple of months, and it's a really great resource on a number of topics. Shopify apps. So one of the reasons we like Shopify is it has a very large ecosystem of designers and developers who are building add-ons to expand Shopify's functionality. There's a lot of different apps that you can use to do things like customer loyalty points or advanced shipping calculators. So if there's something that you need your store to do that Shopify doesn't do out of the box, chances are there's an app that will allow you to expand that and do those things. Most of the apps are either free or they have a subscription that rolls right up into your Shopify subscription that you pay. And lastly is Shopify Experts. So similar to the app, there's a whole ecosystem of people who are Shopify professionals. They have experience in either designing themes, building apps, setting up your store, helping with marketing. We are a Shopify partner, so we are found in the store, and you can see a number of other ones based on what you need help with or what your budget is. So I'm going to just quickly kind of show you a couple of those screens. And again, I'm going to send a link, so I'm not going to go through this exhaustively. But this is that Shopify help section, so you can either just quickly search through here or drill down by a number of topics and find exactly what you're looking for. This is Shopify Compass. So this is where they have sort of e-learning courses. They have some live workshops. They have some other sort of editorial content. But for example, this is where you can learn how to do email marketing that is focused on e-commerce. And you can see this is a little over 2 hours long, and there's 38 lessons within here. So these are some really, really great informative content to help you really get more involved in Shopify and just in e-commerce in general. This is the Shopify App Store. So this is, for example, where you can see if you were wanting to add like a loyalty program to your store. You can see there's a number of apps here. You can see the reviews on the apps and click through to see those. It's a 7-day free trial, so you can install this on your store, try it out, see if it's going to do what you want it to do, and then if so, subscribe and add that to your store. And then that last screen here is these Shopify Experts. So this is where you can see if you need some help with maybe content writing, you can go and find people who could help you write some blog posts, and you can drill down either by location, by language, by region, or by a price range and a budget that you have in mind for that. So those are some of those resources. I'll send links to those after the call. So what does Shopify cost? Well, there's a few different levels based on what you need. And as you can see, there's kind of a pricing grid here, and you can see some of the features that you get at each level. Most of the customers that we set up for are either on the basic Shopify or on the Shopify plan. Advanced Shopify has some obviously a number of additional features. There's a couple other options way down here at the bottom. Shopify Plus is for more enterprise level clients. I believe the pricing starts at $2,000 a month, so it's really more of an advanced large volume customers. But the other one here that is might be an option is Shopify Lite. So this is the option if you only wanted to sell either on Facebook or you wanted to just sort of embed some products right on your site. And if you wanted to do that, that plan is only $9 a month. So you can kind of check that out. But again, I'll send a link to this. You can kind of go through all of these. The great thing is if you go here and I'll send this link, but if you go to the shopify.com free trial with the referral of Dative, you can put in and create your account and you'll get a 90-day free trial. So you can try out Shopify for 3 months, see which plan might be a good fit for you, kind of start to work on building your store out, and then once you're ready to launch, pick a plan and subscribe to that. So let's get started. We're going to dive in. So once you put in your information here, you'll fill out a little bit of information about your store. So the name of your store, your information, the address. And when you're filling out the name of the store, what that will end up doing is creating this URL for your store. So I have this demo here that's kind of a fresh install that I'm going to be using for this. And so you can see it's dative-demo under myshopify.com. Once you eventually launch your site, this will always be available, so you can have this direct people to here, but most likely what you'll want to do is create a custom domain, and that might either be your own website domain, like hellodative.com in my case, or if you want to have a separate informational marketing website and have your store be separate from that, you can either set up an entirely different domain like dativestore.com, or you can set up a subdomain. So it might be shop.hellodative.com. There's a few different options on how you can do that. And again, you can also even just embed this directly into your store on a certain page. So once you create your store, this is the first screen that you're going to be presented with. And so this is kind of the overall dashboard of Shopify's backend. And before you have put any products in, they kind of give you a pretty helpful little step through of how to get started. So they're prompting here, the first thing you want to do is add products. Then you can customize your theme. You can add a custom domain. And so they'll step you through that. Once you start to add some products and stuff, this will go away because it's no longer needed. But on that home page, they do usually have some pretty helpful resources here. So you can kind of click through in here and either act on these, or if you want to dismiss those, you can. And over time, these will be updated with new content, new information. So Shopify is always releasing new webinars, new resources, new updates and features. So this is a good place to kind of stay up to date on all the newest things that Shopify is releasing. So I'll give you a quick tour of the control panel here, and then we'll dive in and start putting some products. So at any point, if you click this is going to take you either here or here, take you back to basically your home screen. Once you start to have some products and start to have some orders in, this content will go away, and you'll actually see sort of a snapshot of your store. So how much traffic you're getting, how many orders you have, where the traffic sources are coming from. It's sort of like an infographic control panel. Orders is where you'll start to see orders that come in, and you'll see a list of those, and then from there you can act on fulfilling them, adding shipping information, refunding if necessary. That can all be handled through the order section. The next one down is products, and this is where you would manage all your products, as well as put in inventory if you are tracking inventory through Shopify. You can handle transfers if you are wanting to keep track of incoming transfers for some of the products that you have, and manage collections, as well as have the option to set up and sell gift cards. The next one down is customers. Now, when customers are purchasing from your store, you do have the option to allow them to create accounts. So that will do a few things. It will create an account for you so you can see their information here in the back end. It will also create an account for them so that when they're coming back and if they're making multiple purchases from you, it will save their information. They'll save their shipping address so they can check out faster next time. Once you start to build customers, you can go in and tag them if you want to group them certain ways. You can use Shopify to send out email marketing to them. You can see purchase history. So it's sort of an overview of people who have been making purchases or creating accounts with you. The analytics is going to give you some overview here, and you can see right now, obviously a lot of this is just at 0 because this is a demo store. But this is a good way to kind of get an insight and an overview of how well your store is performing, where the traffic is coming from, what pages or products are most popular that people are looking at. You can also set up and add Google Analytics, which I highly recommend to this. So in addition to what you get here, if you set up Google Analytics, in Analytics, you can get even more data about your store's performance. Marketing, Shopify has, similar to expanding and adding more channels, they're adding more ability to use right through Shopify some marketing tactics and campaigns. So you can go right through here and set up email, similar to like a MailChimp or a Constant Contact. You can actually do that right through Shopify if you'd like. I'm not going to touch on this too much because it's kind of a little bit more of a next level once you get set up, but they do have some great features built right in here, and that's always here available through the marketing tab. Discounts is where you can set up promo codes or sales, and there's a few different types that you can do. There are discount codes, which would be the type of what you've usually seen as you shop, like a specific code that somebody puts in to get a discount. When you set up the code. There's a few different things you can set that, as you can see, whether you want that to be a percentage, maybe it's a fixed amount of $10 off, whether you want that code to qualify and allow people to get free shipping, or you can even do, buy a certain number and get something else. You can then narrow that down and say you only want this to be available to certain purchase amount, maybe specific customers, or maybe you want this to only be allowed to the first 50 people that use that code. And then you can also set a start and end date for that code so that it would be valid only within that window. So that would be creating promo codes. Once you've created those, you can actually see historically how many times those were used. And then there's also automatic discounts. So this would be where you would say, for example, they don't need to put a code in, but you wanted to offer a certain percentage off an entire grouping of products, or a certain discount over a certain dollar amount. So those are the two types of discounts that you can set up in Shopify. Apps is here is where you would see some of the apps that are available. Shopify has a number of their own first party apps that they have built that you can install. So Order Printer is one of those. Product Reviews is another one. And then you can visit the Shopify App Store through here, or you can just sort of Google that and see and search for apps that you'd like to install. Here's where you would manage the online store. I'm going to get into that after we bring some products in and show you how you'd sort of set up your store and your theme. And then down here at the bottom is a settings, and we're going to get into those right after we do the products. But this is where you manage a lot of the configuration of some of the settings of the store. One of the great things, before we get too much further, that Shopify does is they separate the products and the e-commerce logistics from the visual end of things. So when we get into the online store, you can see we're going to set up kind of how the store looks and feels. At any point, you can edit the design of your store. You can swap themes. You can change things out and make some edits, and that won't affect any of the products themselves or the orders. So those are kind of separated, and they did that on purpose so that you can change the look and feel, but not have to worry about having that impact any of the products. So let's get over here into products, and I'm going to start to add our first product. When you can do that here, but when we don't have any products, you can see you can do it right here, or if you click under products, there'll be another button when we get to having already one in there. So I'm going to click to add a product, and this is the product detail page, and you're going to spend a fair amount of time on this as you get into building your store out. So I'll kind of go through this a little slowly the first time, and then I'm going to add another product afterwards a little quickly so we can have a couple in here. So the first thing I'm going to do is put in the title for this product, and I'll show you how what we're putting in here will impact how this looks from search engine and the SEO of this page. So I'm going to do Cape Cod shirt. I'm just going to put in some placeholder text here for now. This is sort of the description of the product, and there is some basic formatting here. So this, if you wanted to have some bold text, this is similar to Google Docs or any other sort of text editor program. So you can also put in some bulleted lists, numbered lists. You can put in a picture and some other information here. The pictures of the product themselves, though, you're going to want to put down here in this media tab. So I had created some demos here. I'm just going to drag this from my computer. Now, one of the things that you're going to want to spend a little bit of time on is making sure you have really good product photography. If you can have a photographer come and shoot it, that's great. There's, I think Shopify has some good tutorials on how to do, kind of a do-it-yourself product photography. But that's one key is having good photos. And you can add multiple pictures. Whatever this larger one here is going to be the featured one, and that's what people are going to see when they go to load up the products. I'm going to grab a couple more here just so you can kind of see. This will be the primary picture, and then we have a couple other ones. And this is just sort of a fun shirt design that I come up with for this testing. The next step down is the pricing. So this is what the actual price that people would be paying. So let's say I wanted to sell this shirt for $20. I would put that price there. If you wanted to make it seem that as if this shirt was on sale, or if it was actually on sale, you'd put the price here, but you'd put the compare at price here. So let's say I wanted to say the shirt was 25, but right now it's on sale for 20. And a lot of times you've seen that on stores where this price would be, the 25 would have a line through it, and then you'd see, this is the current price. If you do want to track your margin on items through Shopify, you can put that in here. So let's say it cost me $12 to produce this shirt. You can see your margin and your profit. You don't need to do this if you don't want to, but you have that ability. From here, you can choose whether this is, you should be charging tax on this product. We can also set up tax zones in the settings, which I'll show you when we get to that point. This is where you can set up, if you do want to have Shopify tracker inventory. One thing I'll say is inventory can be a really sticky subject. If you do already sell some products physically in a retail store, what I would recommend is you set a number of those products aside, either a separate part of the store or just in a different box, and have those be your online inventory. Because what you don't want to do is get in a situation where you're selling some stuff in retail in your physical store, and then you're selling some stuff online, and you've accidentally oversold, and it just creates a tough situation where you have to either delay shipping those products to your customers or reach out to them and let them know that you don't actually have that in stock. So if you do want to track inventory, you can put in your own SKU here. If you have some barcode information, you can put that here as well. This option here, continue selling out of stock, would allow that even when, let's say the initial amount is 10 and I sold 10 of those, once I reach 0, should people be allowed to keep purchasing this item? So if this is unchecked, they cannot. It'll say the product's out of stock. If you check this because perhaps you know that you can create your products really quickly, or you have more available that you can move into stock, you could check this and it'll allow people to keep buying those, and your quantity after that point would actually go to negative. You'd see that you've oversold that amount. I'm going to uncheck that. I'm going to say I have 10 of these shirts available. The next sort of section here is shipping. So this is where you would choose, is this a physical product? So if you're selling like a digital download or a service that you don't need to be shipping, you can uncheck this. Because this is a physical product, I'm going to say this is a physical product and I do need to ship this. I'm going to say the shirt weighs 1 pound. You can put in some information here if you are shipping internationally, potentially. You can put in where it originated and then an HS code if you are shipping overseas. In my case, I'm going to be only shipping to the US, so I'm not going to worry about that. And then this last step here is the variants. So this is where you can set up some options for your products. And this is sort of a business decision on your part, is how you organize your products. And in this case, I could have sold these as 3 separate products. I could have sold a black shirt, a blue shirt, and a red shirt as 3 separate items. But instead of doing that, I'm going to set this up where I have 3 separate options in the dropdown. So we have black, we have blue, and we have red shirt option. We're also going to add another option for size. So let's say I have small, medium, and large. And as you're typing that in, you can see this is whatever you want to do. So if you wanted to actually spell out small, you can do that. When you click to add another option, there are some defaults here, but you can change that to be whatever you want. So gender, and you could say, specify that. You could say anything you want. They have some presets, but based on your products, you can set up those options. So I only need those 2. I'm going to remove that one. As you build those options, it's going to start to create all these variants for you. So you can see now not only the price per variant, it's going to create these SKUs automatically, and this is where you might need to actually change this. So I have CC1 BS. And you can also set the inventory per option that's available. So say I have 10 of all of these. Now, I'm going to show you in the next step how you can actually create a spreadsheet to import all your products at once, or a number of products at once. And that'll create this, that'll sort of streamline this setup a little bit. But so I've set this all to inventory. I'm not going to bother changing all the SKUs, but you could change those if you are using SKUs for your products based on the variants you have. And then the last section down here is a search engine listing preview. So this is how your product page is going to appear in a Google search results, or if somebody shares this perhaps on Facebook. So when you're setting up here at the top of the page, the title of the product and the description, that's going to populate into here. Now that might be enough for you, or you might really want to customize that and make it a little bit more keyword friendly. So if you do want to do that, you can click Edit Website SEO, and then this will pop up and have an editable field. And you can put in some additional information. Maybe it's a little bit more descriptive than you want, than would show on your page. Same thing for the description. So this is where maybe you can describe, if you want this to show up in search results pages a little different than it does on your website, you can edit that content. And then the last one down here is a URL. So this is the actual final page that people would visit in a browser to get to your site. So right now it would be /product/Cape Cod shirt, and that's fine. You can see this still is showing the dative-demo.myshopify. Eventually, if you add a custom domain, that will update automatically. You don't have to worry about this. The only part you can edit from here is this final little segment down here. I'm going to scroll back up for a second before I save this, just to show you a couple other settings that you're going to want to pay attention to. So right up here is a product availability, and you can click to manage. Now, I only have this one channel on my online store. If you get to the point where you have multiple channels, like say you have an online store and you're also selling on Instagram and Facebook, you can say, set whether you want this product to be available on all of those channels or only specific channels. This is how you can organize and group your content. So you can put in the product type that it is, and I'm going to say it is a shirt. I'm going to put in that I'm the vendor. And I would say when you're putting products in, try to put as much of this information in it as possible, because it's just going to, in the long term, help you group content and organize stuff a little bit. And then the next part is this collections. So this is really how Shopify groups different products. So I'm going to say this is in the shirts collection, or actually I'm going to say t-shirts. And additionally, you can use tags. Tags, some themes will have a way to filter down by tags. So on a sidebar, perhaps you can show, sort by color, by season, by other keywords and stuff like that. So I'm gonna skip that for now, and I'm actually gonna skip this collections for now, because I'm gonna show you a better, another way how I'm gonna add these to different collections. So actually, I'm gonna add a tag of t-shirt, because I'm gonna use that to inform the collection. So I'm gonna go ahead and save this, and once that saves, we're gonna go back to the products page, and you'll see that it's there under all products. So this is the Cape Cod shirt. At any point, you can click here to edit that. If you have multiple products, you can click here, and then you can, under more actions, you can kind of bulk edit products that way. And at any point, you can also, if you need to, you can either export your products, or this import is what I was talking about, where you can create a spreadsheet and import multiple products all at once. So I'm gonna add one more product here. just so we can have a couple to look at. Just put another placeholder text in there. So now I have this other product. Let's say this one is $30. And we're just going to have this one variant available for now. So over here, I'm going to say that this is shirt. I'm going to tag this one as long sleeve. So now I have these two products in here. If we go back to products, you can see those here. So how do we sort of start to group these? And it'll make more sense as you add a number of products. But right now, we'll just have the two. And I'm going to group these into two different collections. Again, collections is how Shopify organizes products into pages. So in this case, I'm going to create two different collections. I'm going to create a collection for long sleeve items. This page, as you can see, it's similar a bit to the product page specifically. In some of the fields, it's a little there's a little less options because we're not actually purchasing anything from a collection. It's just a way to group those. So for each collection, you can put in a title, you can put in an optional description, you can put in a cover picture for the collection, and you'll see how that plays in. Some themes will use a cover image to show what is included in that collection. And then when you're creating collections, there's a couple ways you can build these. Manual is you would specifically choose what products should go into this collection. So there might be some situations where that makes sense. More often than not, what you want to do is you want to create automated collections. And what that does is, as you're adding products, any products that meet the conditions that you set here will automatically be added to that collection. So in this case, I want to create an automated collection, and I want to say it must meet all of these conditions. The product tag is equal to, and I want to say t-shirts. Actually, in this case, it should be, because we're creating a long sleeve collection. If you had, if you wanted to have multiple conditions, so you say if it met all these, it is long sleeve, but it also is the vendor is dative or something like that. You can create multiple conditions here, and then you can have it so that this collection will either only be, it'll only be added to this collection if it meets all of these, or if you say any of these. So you can have a couple ways you can organize those. I'm just going to put that just as one condition for now. And so I'm going to save that. And then I'm going to create one more collection called short sleeves. Again, I'm creating an automated collection, and I want the tag to be t-shirts. So now moving forward, as I bring in products, as long as I tag them as t-shirts, they will automatically be added to this short sleeves collection. And as you can see, once I've done that now, in here, in this collection, you can see this is already qualifying because it matches that condition. So this is included in this product. You can, at any point from here, sort those a different way, alphabetically, A to Z, price, low to high. And this is in the back end, so if you have a lot of products in the collection, you can kind of see what's there. So if I go back to these products, and so this tag is long sleeve. So if I go to this long sleeve collection, you should see, yeah, that's now in there as well, which is what we want to have, which is great. So collections is really the best way to organize from a top level your products, and there's no right or wrong way to do that. It's just you'll probably want to spend a little time before you bring all your products in to set up those collections so that you have those organized the way you'd like, and then as you bring in those products or import them, they'll be added to those different collections. You can always add more collections at any point on the fly, but having those set up first will make your job a little bit easier. In here under products, you can, if you did set up inventory, you can go and always see at this point a full list of all the products and the current inventory. At any point, you can, if you realize that one of these were damaged or something, you can change the inventory number from here if necessary. If you are having Shopify track inventory as you are selling these shirts, it will know to automatically deduct from the appropriate section, so it'll keep track of that in here. So there's a couple of products that we have in here now. Let's go over here down to the settings now and start to set up some of the logistics of actually being able to sell these products to people. So way down here under the settings in the bottom, once you click that, you can see there's a bunch of different options here. I'm not going to click through every single one of these, but basically, as you go through the groupings here, as you can see, this is general settings, which is basically your store information. So what is your physical address? What is your contact email, your phone number, that sort of stuff. So you can see that here, the legal name of your business. You can set up any sort of standards. So if you want all of your online orders to have a certain prefix for the orders, or if you needed to start at a certain number, you can set some of those things up here. So that's here under the general settings. And as you're going through and creating your store, you'll want to sort of just literally click through each of these. There's a lot of different settings that you'll want to look at of turning certain things on and off. And Shopify is really helpful of sort of explaining what those are. So those are the general settings. Payments are how you allow people to actually make a purchase through Shopify. So Shopify has a number of payment gateways and allows the payment processing. Shopify Payments is the easiest because it's built and handled by Shopify entirely. So that's one of the quickest ones, and if you wanted to use that, you'd click to activate Shopify Payments, and there's a short application process where you put in your business EIN number and some information, and then they, once approved, allow you to pay, to process the payments right through Shopify. So they charge a credit card processing rate, which is pretty similar to something like Stripe or Square or many of the other PayPal. So they have the similar processing rate if you use them. If you prefer to use some other ones, they have a number of ones here you can see. I have a testing one set up so we can kind of demo what it looks like as people place an order. You can use your own, so let's say you already have a authorized.net, or they have a number of other ones here that you can use, that you can set up. And they have some kind of advanced settings, like if you wanted to set up manual payments or choose COD or something like that. But for most of the clients that we set up, and for most of you listening, it'll probably just be the Shopify Payments. It's the most easy to use, and it's usually the most cost effective. So that's under the payments. Under checkout, you can sort of customize the checkout experience. Are you allowing customers to create accounts? Are you requiring that they create accounts during checkout, which I wouldn't recommend. You want to always give people the option to just check out as a guest. But you can give people the option, if they do want to save their information, to do that. You can set some other information. So when they're checking out, what information are you asking that they provide? Do you want to have them provide shipping phone number, company address, the ability to add a tip, and some processing settings here. So again, you'll click through these and set some of these up in the checkout section. Shipping is probably one of the stickiest parts of online selling, partly because there's just a lot of logistics of calculating shipping and then fulfilling those orders. So again, when it comes to this, there's no right or wrong way to do this. There's a number of options you have available. You can use Shopify Shipping directly, in which case, when somebody places an order, you can click right through the fulfillment to print a prepaid packing slip and affix it to the box, and then send it out that way, and they will calculate all those rates for you based on what you put in that the item weighs and where it's going to be shipped to. You can do some other things like you can set up local pickup. What a lot of people choose to do is rather than doing calculated shipping, they'll offer sort of a flat rate shipping, and then offer potentially free shipping over a certain rate. You can also choose where you want it to be shipping to. So I'm going to just set up here quickly. I'm going to do, I'm shipping from my address. I want to be shipping to the domestic US, and I want to turn off the rest of the world. I just want to be shipping to the domestic US. And I want to say, let's just leave these. These are fine for now. When you're setting up in the store, this is pulling from the address that I put in my store setup. If you have a warehouse or a fulfillment center that you're shipping from, you can set that up separately, and you can actually have multiple locations. And say if certain products are shipping from one location and certain from another, you can set that up in the product itself. So I'm going to just delete this like I had done. I'll go ahead and save that. Okay. Taxes is where you would set up how you charge for taxes on the products. You can set it up for whether you want tax to be included, if you want to charge tax on shipping, if you want to charge tax on, so you can see because our store is set up, it's already calculating that our local tax is 6.25%. I can choose per product whether to charge tax. So for example, with a shirt, maybe we're not charging tax, but for other physical goods, we would be. So you can set this all up in here on how you would be charging your taxes. I am not by any means a tax professional, so you'll want to check with your your financial advisor, your tax person, your bookkeeper on how you should be charging taxes on some of your items when it comes to e-commerce. Locations here is where you would set up the fulfillment centers. So again, I have this as my default, but let's say if I did have a warehouse that everything is getting shipped from, I could add that and have that be the default location as I'm calculating some of those shipping things. Notifications is where you can set up all the things that are related to who gets notified and when as people are placing orders. So you can see there's a number of them here. You can customize this here. So if I clicked here, I could put in your own logo and style the colors a little bit to match your brand. And you can either turn some of these on or edit some of the language here. But these are all sort of the notifications that would happen both to you and letting you know that somebody placed an order, as well as the ones that go to the customers once they place orders. You can set up and add gift cards and sell those through your store, and then people can then use those later on when they're making a purchase. Files here is where any pictures that you've uploaded to your theme would all live. So if you needed to bulk upload a bunch of pictures that you wanted to use, like in a slideshow or in a gallery, you could upload them to the theme, but they will also live here in this section. A sales channel is another way to get to the same section that's over here. So I'll wait and I'll show you when we get to that, but that's how you can set up and configure your sales channels. The plans and permission is where you can see the plan that you're on. So as you can see right now, I am on just a testing plan. I'm the owner. This is where you can add staff accounts. So let's say you have somebody that you do need to have access to your back end of your store to be fulfilling orders, processing things like that. You can add people so that multiple people can have access to your store. Store languages is if you did happen to be or choose to sell in multiple languages, you can set that up through here. Billing is where you would put in your own payment information, and this is billing in the terms of you paying Shopify for the service. So once you go to subscribe and use Shopify and go live, you'll need to set that up in there. And then legal is a pretty helpful section in here. So Shopify will create templates for you from the store information that you have. So before you go into this to create these, you'll want to make sure all the information in that general settings is updated. So your latest, your correct phone number, email address, and business information, because when you click here to create from template, it's going to pull that from there, and it's going to create a whole refund policy template. Now, obviously, you'll want to read through this and make sure this is applicable or add any custom language, but they do give you a great boilerplate to start from. Same thing with privacy policy, you can create from a template, and terms of service, you can create from that template, and a shipping policy. So again, you can sort of use that as a starting point and then edit as necessary. So that's all here under the settings. So once you go through and really set up some of the payment processing, the shipping and taxes information, how you want those notifications to go, you'll be ready to start accepting orders, but people need to be able to get to your store and actually see your product. So how do they do that? Well, the default one is the online store. So that's here under the sales channel. You see this online store. When I click to the online store, you'll see this open up with a few different things. You'll see this plus button next to the sales channel. So if I click that, this will pop up, and we're not going to add any right now, but you can see there are a number of other online sales channels that you can add. This would be their retail point of sale if you wanted to add through Instagram. So you could click this plus button and then set that up separately. We're just going to cover the online store option for now. So once you click online store, you can see this pops open, and there's a few different sections in here. There's themes, blogs, pages, navigation, domains, and preferences. So the way your store looks is what's here under the theme. Now, when you create a store, they give you this default theme called Debut. And at any point, if you want to see what your store looks like, you can click this little eyeball icon here next to the store, and that will open up in a new tab. So here's the store. As you can see, it looks pretty bare bones. There's not much here, and that's because we haven't put any of this other secondary information in here. So we can start to build that out. And to do that, you would click here to customize. The other thing that you can do is, and before you first start to customize a theme, what I would recommend is you spend a little bit of time looking at all the different themes that are available, because once you start to customize a theme, if you wanted to switch themes, you're going to spend a lot of time customizing another theme. So what you can do here is, this is the current theme that I have, and this is the one that they give you by default called Debut, and that's free, and you can customize that. If you go down here, you can see there's a number of other free themes that you can see that are all built by Shopify, or there's a Shopify theme store. And these are premium themes that you can purchase and install that have a lot of extra features. So if you go here, you can start to see all these different themes that have been built specifically for Shopify. When you get to any of these, you can click through and see a demo. If I scroll up, there's a couple ways to sort of navigate this. So you can search, okay, you might really want a theme that has big images, or if it's specific for an industry that is set up that way. If you click all themes, there's a way to even navigate down here. So let's say you want to make sure that the home page has the ability for a video. So if you click to filter that, it's going to show you themes that match that goal. So you might want to create a list of, okay, I really want make sure my online store has these features, and then you can go in here and drill down to that. Again, and also you can see if you want a free one, or you can click to see paid. With any of these, if you click through to the theme itself, you'll see a theme demo. So if you click demo, you'll see that they usually have a couple preset stylings here. And when you click to view demo, that's going to open up so you can kind of see exactly what that would look like with real products and real content. When I close that, let me go back to the theme store. The really cool thing is, with any of these demos, or any of these themes rather, you can click to try theme, and you don't pay anything until you're ready to publish. So you can try a few different themes and see which one's a good fit. And once you're ready to go, then you would purchase that theme. So this is the Debut one. I had installed this one, Venue, just as sort of a trial. so we can see what that would look like. So when you're going to start to build out your store, that's when you're customizing the theme. I can't publish this one yet because we didn't purchase it. Otherwise, it would be up here as the live one. But you can still click here to customize and start to see what this would look like. So this is the sort of theme editing view. And as you can see, this is the home page that we're at, and there's a few different things. On the sidebar here are all the different blocks that you can add to this page that we're on. We're on the home page, as you can see. So with any of these, there's a few different things. If you click one of these sections, this is going to open up and give you control over that specific section. So I'm going to go out of here and close. Let's say we don't want a slideshow. There's a few things you can do. You can hide that altogether, in which case it'll be hidden from the view. Or you can click on this little section and drag to reorder these. And if I scroll to the bottom, I can even add sections. So the themes, the sections that you have available, like this video or the featured product, are all going to be specific to the theme. So some of those premium themes that you buy are going to have a lot more features that you can use to build out and kind of design the site. So as we get into any of these, like if I click on this featured collection here, as you see, once I click this featured collection, this opens up and I can control some of this content. So you can change some of these things, and in this case, I want to choose a collection, and I want to choose short sleeve shirts and long sleeve shirts, or short sleeve. And so now you can see that's going to pull in my product image from that collection. And let's say I want to have this show, just 2. I can sort of choose how this is going to look on the page. So this is where you would start to really build out all the look and feel. And again, if you wanted to hide some of these because they're not necessary, you could click to hide those, or you could click to add some of those ones. So right now, as you can see, we're editing the home page. There's a few different things you can do. Like let's say under this drop down under here, the home page, you want to change what a product page looks like. So let me click through here, and this is going to take me to an example of a product page. So now on this sidebar, a lot of the settings and options have updated to be specific to the page we're on. So now in here, I can show, do I want this to be narrow or wide? Do I want to add some content underneath that? For the product itself, do I want to show a quantity, or do I want to turn that off? I just want people to be able to buy one at a time. Do I want to show, do I want it to zoom when I hover over this image? Yes or no. So as you drill down, there's a lot of different settings that you can customize the look and feel of the site. And you would do that as I click in here. I'll click back to get to the main page. And you can do that per page. So if I go through here and I want to say, what does the collection page look like? I can sort of customize all these different things. There's also, separate from the sections, which are specific to the page you're on, there are some theme settings that are global across the whole site. So this is sort of how you would customize large sections of the site, from anything from colors, like if I want all the headings on the site to be this color, I could change them there. If I want to use a different font that matches my brand, I can update and change all this here. And at any point, you can sort of preview what your site's going to look like, and you can click this little button. It's going to open up, and you can see this is how my site's going to look. Once you're, let me go back here. Once you're working on this and making changes, you want to make sure you click the save button so that it's going to save any of those changes that you've made. To get back to the Shopify kind of control panel, you hit the Shopify button up here, and you will get back to this theme section. So there's a couple other quick things I want to touch on. I know we're getting close to an hour, so I want to be respectful of everyone's time. The navigation is set up separate from the theme. So this is where you can sort of start to set up some of the ways people would navigate to the site. So if I click here under navigation, you can see we can set up, and right now there's these 2 menus. There's the footer menu, and then there's the main menu. So if I click to main menu, there's the home page and the catalog. Let's say I don't want to have the catalog show there, but I want to show a couple of those collections. So I want to show in my navigation, I want people to be able to quickly get to long sleeve shirts. So this is going to be the name that shows in the navigation, and then I want to link this to a collection, and I want it to link to the long sleeve tee collection. If you wanted to, you could even filter down by that so that when people get to that page, it only shows a segment of that. But in this case, I want that whole collection to show up. And I also want another way people can quickly get to short sleeve. And again, in this case, I want that to link to a collection, and I want that to go to short sleeve collections. I'm going to just add one other one so you can see. Let's say it's a contact us. When you choose where you want to link that to, you can see there's a bunch of options. There's the home page, there's collections, which I had done. You could link to a specific product. You could link to pages on the site, which are non-product things like an about us or a contact. You could link to some blog post pages. You can link to one of your policies that are in there. I didn't create those shipping and terms of service type policies, but you could link to those. Or you could just put in an entire URL, and that would just link offsite if you wanted to have it go that and do that. So I'm just going to save those two for now, and I'm going to save that. And so now my main menu shows homepage, long sleeve, and short sleeve. Now, how do we get to that to show up on the site? Because now when I demo this, we can see, okay, home, and now those menu items are showing up here. So if I click to long sleeve shirts, it's going to show me all the things that are in that collection, which right now are just this one product. So let me click here and go to add to cart, and I'm just going to quickly demo what it's going to look like as somebody goes to check out and make this purchase. So a lot of these settings that you can see here, the language and stuff are you can customize in the theme. So I'm going to go and check out and demo the order process, and then what it's going to look like when somebody places an order on the back end. So I'm just putting in this test stuff so we can see. And if anyone who's done some online shopping is probably familiar with this screen. You know, a lot of stores are powered by Shopify. And when I was saying that it's not completely customizable, these are some of those aspects that are a little more locked in. The transaction processing and these screens are controlled entirely by Shopify. So you can control some stuff like putting your logo up here and a background image, but for the most part, a lot of this stuff is it's kind of locked in and controlled by Shopify. So great, I just placed that order, and this is sort of the customer experience, so they can see where is it getting shipped to, what is the information that I put in here, and I can go and continue shopping. So what is it going to look like on the the back end of Shopify? Well, now over here under orders, when you click orders, you're going to see that this order has come through, and you're going to get some information, who the customer was, the total amount that they had paid, and then the status of that. And right now, this is unfulfilled. You can have it so that Shopify automatically fulfills orders as you place them, but most likely you're going to want to have it so that you're manually kind of going in here as you ship these items out. So if I click through to the order here, you can see there's some more details into this. I can see what product was purchased. I can see what information, where it's getting shipped to. They have a good built-in sort of fraud analysis. You can see, does it think that this was a stolen card? If it's comes up as a they do a really good job of like blocking actual stolen ones, but if it got through, they'll still kind of do some of that here. And you can see some data on that person. And then here is a sort of a timeline of this product. So you can see they purchased the product, this payment was processed, and then they received this order confirmation. Right from here, you can resend that email. You will receive an email once anyone places an order, and you can actually also set up so you can receive like an SMS notification, I believe, and you can control who gets those notifications. So maybe there's a shipping or a certain person in your organization that should be getting those emails. You'll get those real time. And the customer will get an email as well that, again, you can customize. If for some reason the person says, oh, I never got an email, you can from here resend that. In here, you can put in some comments, and this is just internally. So let's say you just wanted to kind of make some notes on this project, on this sale internally. You can post that, and your staff internally would see that. So this is where there's a few different options. Like if I wanted to use my own shipping provider, or I did that separately, I could click here and mark this as fulfilled. If you are using Shopify shipping, you can click here to create a shipping label. And what this will do is it's going to pop up on a screen, and it's going to, so I haven't added my own payment information, so it's not going to let me actually do this right now. But you can say, okay, I needed to ship this. It's going to weigh this much, and this is the box that I'm using. And it will calculate, if I say, for example, want to ship this with UPS, and I can purchase and pay for the label all through here, and that will be a prepaid label. And once I click to buy that and click fulfilled, it's going to add tracking information to that order and send that to the customer. And then I can just simply drop that box off, or if I have pickup from that provider, it will be picked up and it will all be prepaid, provided that you putting in accurate weight for that box and everything like that. So I'm going to go back to the order, and there's a couple other things you can do from here. You can print this if you wanted to have a physical copy for your warehouse or for your fulfillment team. You can refund this order if necessary. Under here, you can duplicate the order if you need to create a copy of that. You can archive it. You can edit the order if you needed to modify some of the settings in here. You can go in here and let's say that they said that they ordered 2 of these by accident. You could change some of these things in here. I'm just gonna do this one, mark as fulfilled, so we can kind of see what this looks like. And this is where you could put in, again, if you use your own provider, you could put in your own tracking number here and choose a provider if you wanted that to be sent to the customer. And then by default, once you mark this as fulfilled, it's going to send an email to the customer saying that their order has been shipped, and it will, if you put in tracking number information, it will send that to them. If you uncheck that, they will not receive that email. So I'm just going to leave that like that, and I'm going to go ahead and mark this as fulfilled. And so now that order is fulfilled and completed. So now if I go back to my orders on here, you can see that one has been fulfilled. As you start to get a lot of different orders, you can start to drill down and see, okay, only show me unfulfilled ones, show me the ones that have been unpaid. The other one last quick thing that I'll touch on, and I appreciate everyone's time, is you can manually create orders from the back end. So this might be helpful sometimes if you someone wanted to, for some reason, place an order over the phone, they didn't have a computer, or they weren't computer savvy, or if you wanted to sort of create a special order for somebody and give them sort of a discount from the back end. So right from here, I could say I wanted to add some of these. Let's say maybe I wanted to give somebody a wholesale discount right through here. So they're ordering 10 of these, and I want to add a discount. I can sort of do all this manually from the back end right through here. When I would click in, this also might work, like let's say it's a COD and somebody had called that in. So you can create manual orders from the back end here if you'd like. And those would all sort of follow the rest of the same order process. It will notify the customer if you've added customer information, and it'll live in those orders there as well. So I'm gonna not do that for right now. And again, so where I would say you're probably going to spend, in my recommendation, the bulk of your time initially is really thinking about how to organize your products and get those set up, how you want to group those into collections, bringing those in here under the product section, and then going through and customizing your online store. And whether that's just using the default theme that they've created. One nice thing that they allow you to do is, if you don't necessarily have a lot of really great photography, so like let's say for example I wanted to edit this homepage image, you have the ability to of course upload your own picture. So if I go here, I can upload a picture, but they also right here is explore free images. You can go and say, okay, I don't have my own, but I want to use this one. I can select that. And so that's kind of a quick way to build those out. So that would where the image would be. You have some settings on how you want this text to align, and some settings for this block specifically. And this is where you can customize all the text and those things. And again, this is where you can kind of drag to reorder. If you decided that you don't really need this, you can just hide that all together and kind of quickly and easily build out the look and feel of your store. I'll save that. So Shopify, yeah, and someone just commented, thanks for adding that. The Shopify app is great, absolutely. One of the coolest things, and if you haven't been selling online yet, getting that first order is one of the greatest feelings. And if you have the app, it actually makes this really neat kind of cash register sound. And it's, I've helped clients, we've launched the stores, and it's just this awesome feeling when you see those orders start to roll in. So I know we covered a whole lot. I'd love to try to, if people are still have a few minutes, answer some questions if I can, try to see what I can do to help. And then, lastly, before we wrap up, is if you kind of go through this and you get stuck, as I mentioned, there's a couple different options. Shopify experts, you can hire people based on what you need help with, based on your budget. We have a Shopify setup package that includes us basically helping you import all your products, go through all those settings, and kind of configure everything like that. And that's available at hellodative.com/Shopify. I'll include a link to that as well in the email that goes out. And we have some special pricing right now on this page for customers who are looking to get set up on Shopify for the first time. So I'll send a link to that as well. Again, it probably seems overwhelming, but I think once you get into it, it's a little easier than you think. There's just a lot of kind of settings that you want to make sure you go through, and you're careful looking at those. So with that being said, I'm going to take a sip of water, and if there's any questions, just put them in the chat, and I'd be happy to try to help out and answer those. See, Betsy, if she's still here, you had asked about email messages when order is received. And so, yeah, you'll get an email notification. And what you can do under settings and under notifications, you can control all of that right here. So if I go to notifications, there's two sections. So these are the customer notifications. This is what the customers would get. And you can see when they get an order, what is the language in that. So you can see, you can preview what that would look like here, and this is sort of what that is. They can see all that information. You can customize that a little bit. So if you wanted to change some of the text in here, you can. If you're allowing people to get SMSs, you can see what that would look like. And so you can tweak some of that stuff here. So those are under customer notifications, but down here at the bottom, there are staff notifications. So when somebody places an order, this is how you would set up if you want to be notified. So when somebody places a new order, maybe you want to set that up, and then you can set who do you want that to go to. And you can even enable desktop notifications. So so in terms of migrating, either adding Shopify to your existing site or moving to Shopify, Shopify has some good advice and some resources. They themselves do not do any migration services or anything like that. At that point, you would look to either hire a Shopify expert or kind of do it yourself. But there are a couple options. So I'm going to open up a couple websites just to kind of show you. There's two different ways you can sort of handle that. So like this is a website that we had built for a customer, and this website is not in Shopify at all. But when you click over here to the shop section, this here is powered by Shopify. So in this case, they just embedded the Shopify into their store. And this is one way to do it if you don't have a lot of products and if you have a lot of content on your site otherwise that you don't want to have to recreate or move over. If you have a lot of traffic to your current site and you really like your current site, but you just want to add a store, this is one way to do it, and you can simply embed it into your site this way. The other approach is to have a subdomain. So I'll show you. This is an organization who, this is their marketing site. As you can see, there's a whole lot of information and content here. And right now we're at plymouth.org. Now, when I go here up here into this tab that says shop, this redirects me to their online store, which is powered by Shopify. And so this is actually a different domain, plymouth.com. They could set it up as shop.plymouth.org if they wanted to, but this is sort of their online store that's powered by Shopify, and it's actually a completely different site altogether. So if you have a really complex e-commerce with a lot of stuff, sometimes this is a better approach where you have a whole store, a whole website set up just for your store, and then you have a separate website for informational content. If your store primarily is mostly set up as a store, it might make more sense to just move entirely to Shopify. One thing that I didn't touch on too much is setting up sort of non-store pages. So when you're in your online store here, you can click here to pages, and this is where you can set up pages that are not product specific. So let's say like you wanted to have an our team page. So this is where you could put in information, you can put in some content. By default, these pages aren't terribly robust. They're pretty straightforward. That's really where themes can come into play, because certain themes will allow you to have more dynamic content on some of these pages. For example, like a grid of your staff with their bios or things like that. But you can set up individual pages through here and then link those in the navigation. That would be content separate from your store. So I hope that answered the question on the migration. You would want to bring that over. So we're a little over. I appreciate everyone's time today, and hopefully that was helpful and gave you some good information on why you might want to use Shopify and kind of how to get set up. Again, I'll send out an email to everyone later on today, most likely, with the links to the slides that I showed, and links to all the URLs that we had put in here. Yeah, and thanks for everyone attending. Yep, Paulo, a few apps that have worked for us. ShipStation is a really popular one. Product Reviews, Privy, Bold Upsell. Bold is a great app maker. They have a bunch of ones. Bold makes a number of apps. ShipStation is another great one. So yeah, as you start to get into building out your site, you're gonna realize, hey, it'd be great if we could add this, or we need a little bit more. Some of those things like upsells, like when somebody adds a product to their cart, you recommend other ones, stuff like that. And that's really where adding those apps can bring your store to that next level and really expand some of the features and the functionality and help maximize the ROI on it. All right, so we'll be wrapping up, and if you have any questions at all, you can just simply respond to the email that you're going to get from me later on today. I'd be happy to try to answer any questions you have. And thanks everyone for their time. And thanks to the Cape Cod Chamber and Kim and your team over there. All right. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks again.